drove you to decide that something new needed to be shared this time around?
Sure. First of all, thank you very much, Abha. And we're meeting just in a couple of weeks. We did the India Conclave together, and now here at Sahitya Tak. Great pleasure to meet you again. My gratitude to India Today for having me over again at Sahitya Tak. And my gratitude to everyone for coming here this evening. A very good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen.
Big round of applause, guys. Come on. Woohoo!
So, what prompted me to write this book? John Milton once said something very interesting. He said that the mind can turn hell into heaven and heaven into hell. How many of us have had an experience that you were on a holiday, but somebody did something extremely upsetting to you and the holiday was ruined? You were in a heavenly place, and because your mind was upset, heaven turned into hell. And how many of you have had this experience that you're like crammed up in a economy seat, but you're with someone whom you love so much and you're having the best conversation of your life, even in the most hellish situation you had the best time? Brilliant. Brilliant. That's exactly what John Milton said. The mind can turn heaven into hell or hell into heaven. Let me tell you a story. While I was studying at the College of Engineering, Pune, we had a college canteen was on the banks of a river. When you have a cafeteria which is on the banks of a river, what an exotic place that could be, right? And we were sitting there, and the best thing that our cafeteria would offer us, our canteen would offer us, is samosas. How many of you guys love samosas? I mean, who in Delhi doesn't like samosas? Sorry. It's a wrong question to ask, you know. So we ordered for a plate of samosa, my friend, me sitting there. And before the samosa came, this friend of mine was like super hyper. He was saying, what a fantastic day today. The weather's so great. And look at the beautiful ripples on the river. Like super hyper about everything's going great. And then the samosa came. He picked up the samosa, took the first bite, and he said, this is the best samosa I've had in my entire life. I said, this guy's really hyper today. Well, samosa roj khate hain hum log. And as he just bit into it and had taken like 3 bites, another friend came to us and he said, you know what? I said, what? He said, our results are out. Now, as soon as we said your results are out, we asked, so what happened to our results? So I had done well. He asked what happened to his results. And you know how results in India can be, exam results. Any youngsters know how pressurizing exam results can be? Like one boy was walking with his dad, college-going boy, and he got a message from his friend saying our results are going to be out in 5 minutes. The guy said, I'm walking with dad. अगर फोन उठा के पता हो गया फेल वेल हो गया तो इधर ही कुटाई होगी. So इसीलिए कोड लैंग्वेज में कम्युनिकेट करते हैं. If I fail in one subject, say good morning to you, I'll understand. If I fail in 2, say good morning to you and dad. In 5 minutes, he got a message saying good morning to you, dad, family and friends. I'll tell you. Exams are a nervous time, exam results. So while we were sitting there, this guy comes up and says our results. I was doing fine. This fellow, the samosa, the river, the ripples on the river, the beautiful weather, the karara samosa, the best in his life. So what happened to me? He said, you flunked in all subjects. अभी भी उसके हाथ में वो आधा समोसा ऐसा ही था. The weather was the same. The ripples of the river were the same. The samosa was the same. But now in the samosa, he was seeing his father's face. That I have to face my dad tonight. And that's when, and his face dropped because, you know, it meant something to him. And that's when I got this point here that, you know, when the state of your mind changes, the best things don't give you pleasure and happiness. When your state of mind is right, even the simplest things can bring joy. So that's why I felt it's important that we learn how to deal with the mind, learn how to master our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, and that was the idea behind Energize Your Mind.
So, Swamiji, what do you think? Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
What do you think is the biggest pain point for the youth today? You know, you're talking about exams and failure and studying. You know, what do you think is the biggest point of anxiety, stress? Is it the digital age? Is it competing on social media? Is it trying to get a job? Is it trying to get a girlfriend or a boyfriend? What is the biggest stress today?
I think, how many of you guys here grew up hearing from your family or parents, look at that other fellow, how hard he studies and you don't?
Yeah.
How many of you grew up hearing this? Look at your brother or your sister, how well behaved, and look at yourself? I am astonished at the bug in the way we were brought up. We were always told, look at others, never told, look at ourselves. When two Indian couples meet each other, the ladies are looking at each other's jewelry, and the guys are looking at each other's wives. I'm like, apni ko dekhna mere bhai. You look at you, why are you looking at somebody else's wife? Like one guy, he came back home, he had failed his exam. And his father is saying, dekh, wo tere class mein meri padti hai na, usko dekh lukhe. वो फर्स्ट आई है लुखे और तू फेल हो गया कैसे फेल हो गया द गाय सेड देख देख के फेल हुआ बिकॉज द फादर वाज सेइंग देख 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 कॉन्स्टेंटली आई एम लाइक अमेज्ड एट हाउ पीपल आर बीइंग टोल्ड कॉन्स्टेंटली लुक एट अदर्स नाउ ब्रिंग दैट concept of comparison looking at others in the social media age which is where all our youngsters are living in today where Instagram stories are all about where am I spending my holiday? Instagram stories are about how am I building my body? Instagram stories are about how I'm in the right size of my clothes. Instagram stories are about how I look well. Sometimes I feel when I'm constantly looking at what others are doing, I start feeling inadequate. I start feeling I'm not enough. मुझे लगता है कि मुझे इनफ होने के लिए मेरे बाइसेप बड़े होने चाहिए मुझे लगता है कि मुझे इनफ होने के लिए मुझे साइज 0 होना चाहिए मुझे लगता है मुझे इनफ होने के लिए थोड़ा और लाइफ एक्साइटिंग होना चाहिए मुझे इनफ होने के लिए मुझे थोड़ा सिंगापुर हॉलिडे जाना पड़ेगा मुझे इनफ होने के लिए आई जस्ट नीड समथिंग मोर टू बी इनफ एंड दैट प्रेशर दैट स्ट्रेस of trying to be somebody else has taken away the authenticity of our life. And I feel what is the most required and most necessary to us is leading an authentic life. And the pressure comes from, social media is a great tool. You guys know me because I am there. मतलब मैं social media को गाली दूं तो धंधा बंद. How can we do that? Social media is a great tool. We can spread the message, we can spread awareness, we can connect to people, we can grow our businesses, we can do so much. The issue is, when we get into that mode of looking at others constantly, how many of you, when you wake up, the first thing you do is look at your smartphones? Thank you. How many of you, when you go to bed, the last thing you see is your smartphone? Hannah? Can you imagine what this is doing, guys? I'm not saying don't use. I'm saying, but the more you look at the lives of others, you're going to think that your life is not exciting enough. Your life is not adequate enough. And trust me, you have everything in your life at the moment to live a satisfied life. If you learn to focus on your own self. But दूसरों के पास देखेंगे, तो नहीं हो पाएगा. Thank you.
So I want to get a few questions in from the audience as well. So if anybody, yeah, there's lots of them, but the girl, yeah, right
yeah,
there. Yeah,
sure.
Let's get a few of these. Guys, is the mic on? Can we just check?
Hello, are you hear me? Yeah. Okay. Hello, I'm Tejal. I have to ask one question that whenever I saw you, you are very happy, calm, positive. How you maintain it? Because at one day I feel I'm the best girl, but at next day I feel I'm the worst in this world. So how you maintain it for the whole journey? Thank you.
Thank you, Tejal. What a brilliant
good
question.
question.
Loud round of applause
Yeah,
for Tejal's
good
question. What a brilliant question that is.
And
That-
one more thing.
Okay,
I'm from
brilliant
Pune.
means one more. Okay.
We are Punekar.
Oh, you Pune ka Marathi बोलतेस का?
Of course.
Okay.
आणि स्पेशली देहू रोड
Okay.
त्यामुळे खूप वेटिंग करत होते. थँक्यू.
Thank you. So brilliant question, Tejal. Such a fantastic question that, how do we maintain that state of happiness when I don't feel happy?
Yeah.
How many of you have had this feeling and in the morning you're kind of okay and in the afternoon you hit rock bottom? Any of you had that feeling?
I thought it was just coffee,
I mean, we go through such a range of emotions throughout the day, right? The first thing I want to say to all of you is, please stop being overly obsessed with being happy. There is no need to be happy all the time. Please stop being overly obsessed with being positive. There is no need to be positive all the time. Please stop overly obsessed with this thing that I have to smile always. There is no need to smile all the time. Do you realize that this pressure to be positive and happy is making me negative and miserable? Do you realize that this pressure is toxic? When you have to be pressurized to be positive, that becomes toxic positivity. It's not positivity. एक बात आप लोग सब ध्यान रखिए दोस्तों, प्रेशर में मत रहिए. Accept your emotions with full authenticity. When I feel low, it's alright to feel low as long as I don't feel low all the time in a chronic way. If I feel low and negative all the time, I need help. But if I feel low on a daily basis, someday somebody is going to say something. Somebody comes and says, you look like a hog. I'm going to say, smile, thank you, sir, for that compliment. I'm going to feel insulted. I'm going to feel like I'm rubbish. I'm going to feel like I'm a piece of trash that he's calling me a hog. You know what I mean? So the first thing, guys, one very important principle, stop taking pressure. If some of you follow me on LinkedIn, you will see yesterday I put up a post on LinkedIn and the post said, today we have no motivational quotes. If you want to give up, give up. That's the post I put. And in that post, I wrote a caption saying, guys, you need a break. You need a pause. ठीक है भाई, बुरा लग रहा है ना? लग रहा है. आज ऐसी शाम निकाल देंगे. कल सवेरे नहीं लगे ये इंश्योर करना है, या परसों सवेरे नहीं लगे ये इंश्योर करना है. रही बात मेरी, कि मैं क्यों इतना खुश हूं? क्या मुझे भी ऐसे लो मोमेंट्स होते? है ना? आ रहा है. मेरे लो मोमेंट्स इसमें आएंगे.
Give us a preview. Give us an example.
I had a choice between keeping my image as a monk and saying I am the holier than thou, always happy monk, सब ठीक है, कोई problem नहीं है, मेरी life में सब sorted है, guys. I could have put that image up, or I could have become more vulnerable, saying I also have these problems, like you guys have, and here's what I do to deal with it. That's energize your mind, right? It's not a holier than thou book saying, okay, monks have no problems. Any monk who says they don't have a problem are blatantly lying. झूठे हैं सब. किसकी दुनिया में प्रॉब्लम है? How many of you have problems in your life? आपको सॉल्यूशन चाहिए प्रॉब्लम का? अपना फोन लीजिए और उसका होम स्क्रीन का वॉलपेपर है ना बदल दीजिए. शादीशुदा है तो स्पाउस का डालिए, रिलेशनशिप में है तो GF-BF का डालिए, और जब भी प्रॉब्लम होगा उठाइए, देखिए ऐसा, और बोलिए इफ आई कैन हैंडल दिस थिंग, आई हैंडल एनीथिंग इन माय लाइफ. सॉरी गाइस, just to make it a little lighter, right? But a story from my personal life. She's asked, why do I smile and why have I smiled? I'm saying something here which I don't often say. For the last 29 years, I suffer from a pain in my temples here, 24 hours a day. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, for the last 29 years, I live in absolute hell. Absolute hell. When it comes to my pain, it is absolute hell. I don't know what a pain-free life means. I haven't experienced a pain-free moment in the last 29 years. As I speak to you, I'm in pain. When I sleep, I'm in pain. When I talk, I'm in pain. When I eat, I'm in pain. When I travel, I'm in pain. When I write, I'm in pain. Whatever I do, I'm in pain. And you might have your own examples for pain. Like I have mine, you have yours. Physical, emotional, whatever. We all have our pains. You know what? Here's what I learned in life. How many of you drive cars? Great. Here's a car that I definitely want you all to drive in your life. The C in the car stands for change what you can change about that pain. My headache, my pain here, I should change what I can change. So I tried allopathy, I tried homeopathy, I tried naturopathy, I tried neuropathy, I tried Tirupati, everything I tried. Whatever possible options were there, I tried everything. The pain is still there. Couple of years back, I was in London. I still don't stop trying. क्यों रोकना है? अगर हो पाए, कुछ क्लिक हो जाए, क्यों रोकना है? प्रॉब्लम है ना, उस पर कोशिश करते रहिए ना जी. So C in the car stands for change what you can change. But you know what? There are going to be things which you can't change, like my headache. 29 years.
And you're still always smiling. You're
Yeah.
always smiling. Every
I
time
try.
we see you, you're smiling.
try.
And you're giving hope to people. You're being positive.
Yeah,
you're
try my bit. So the A in the car stands for accept what you can't change. When you know that there's nothing you can do about it, you have to accept it. And then, when you realize that you can't even accept it, there's certain things you can't even accept, the R stands for you have to rise above it. Or remove yourself from it. A lady, a friend of mine, 25, she got married. And in 6 months, she found out her husband's gay. Look, I have no problem with somebody's sexual orientation. It's their choice, right? But what does this lady do? She's stuck in a relationship where the husband's gay. She can't change. She can't accept. The only solution was R, which was remove herself from that toxic relationship. But when you have a pain like this, you can't change, you can't accept, you can't remove. That is when I feel rising above is important. Spirituality, mindfulness, meditation, conscious breathing, being in your own space, to be able to come to terms with it. And just because someone has struggles doesn't mean, just because somebody is smiling doesn't mean they don't have struggles. It just means they've chosen to focus on the brighter side and deal with the negative side of their life. Not to deal with it, but chosen to focus on the brighter side.
Thank you for sharing, Swamiji. That's a big one. And like he said, it's not something that he speaks of often. Lots of questions. Can we have the mic to the gentleman there? And
तो जैसे अभी आपने कार का एग्जाम्पल दिया, इसी तरीके से जब हम किसी भी कार्यालय में होते हैं, ऑफिस में कार्य करते हैं,
माइक थोड़ा करीब पकड़ेंगे आप?
हाँ, तो कई बार लोगों से हमारी अपेक्षाएं होती हैं कि वो हमारी मदद करें. जैसे हम कोई प्रोजेक्ट में काम करते हैं, बट सामने वाला रिस्पॉन्स नहीं करता है, तो हम लोग आमतौर पर नेगेटिव उनके बारे में सोचते हैं और वो ऐसा लगता है कि अपने आप खुद को स्पॉइल करता है, सामने वाले को कोई स्पॉइल नहीं करता है. तो हाउ टू डील दैट टाइप ऑफ द सिचुएशन? थैंक यू.
Correct. How many of you have had experience of this? The people don't help you. You expect something of them, they don't help you. उनकी जिंदगी मस्त चल रही है, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. दिक्कत किसको है? आपको. How many of you have had expectations from your spouses? उठाइए हाथ. डर क्यों रहे हैं? How many of you been disappointed? Oh, thank you. Abba says I'm on stage. Sorry, I'm just joking. I mean, will there ever be an individual in the world who can fulfill all our expectations fully? Are people born in this world just to fulfill your expectations? Are you the be-all, the end-all, the center of the universe, that the whole universe has to do your bidding? Why are we assigning ourselves such a sense of importance that everybody has to listen to what I want to say and everybody has to agree with what I feel like? इतनी importance, इतनी अहमियत खुद को नहीं देनी चाहिए. Having said that, there are going to be these toxic people around. They are 200% toxic. मतलब वो लुखे बैठे रहेंगे ऐसे. आप कुछ अपेक्षा कर रहे कि वो कुछ करे, वो कुछ नहीं करेंगे. कुछ नहीं करेंगे. और सारा प्रेशर आएगा आप पर. और फिर आप सोचेंगे ये बदलता क्यों नहीं है, वो तो मौज कर रहा है. मैं सवाल पूछ रहा हूं, वो बदलता क्यों नहीं है? इस सवाल से अच्छा पूछना चाहिए मैं बदलता क्यों नहीं हूं, क्योंकि वो तो बदलने वाला है ही नहीं. वो तो बदलने वाला है ही नहीं, है ना. अगर उसके साथ काम करना ही पड़े, उसके साथ रिश्ता रखना ही पड़े, तो कम्युनिकेट कीजिए कि मेरे से इतना होगा, इससे ज्यादा मैं नहीं करूंगा. ड्रॉ योर बाउंड्रीज. Draw your boundaries, communicate clearly, speak straight, no problem. ये इतना होगा. इससे ज्यादा उससे अपेक्षा भी नहीं करनी चाहिए, इससे ज्यादा हमको भी कुछ नहीं करना चाहिए. दूसरी चीज, ऐसी सिचुएशन में किसी सुपीरियर की मदद लेनी चाहिए. अगर कोई हो जिससे मदद लेकर ये सॉर्ट आउट किया जा सके, उनसे मदद लेनी चाहिए. और तीसरी चीज, इतना करने के बावजूद वो अड़ियल अगर नहीं बदले और आपको वहीं रहना पड़े ना, तो अपनी सहन शक्ति भी बढ़ानी सीखना चाहिए, क्योंकि आपको उसकी जरूरत भी है ना. थैंक यू. माय गॉड, यू आर ऑल आस्किंग लाइक poignant questions.
I actually have two quick questions. One, I want to know how other monks react to you. कि ये तो हमारी पूरी साधु image change करते रहे हैं. So how do your colleagues react to the sort of new image that has been brought out, that's so approachable, that's so fresh? Second, you motivate all of us all the time. Who motivates Gaur Gopal Das?
Wow. Standard questions I get asked. This is one of them. And one of them is, what made you change to come to become a monk? Standard. But thank you for those questions. First one, of course, is how do the fellow monks and my colleagues in the ashram react to this kind of a change? I'll tell you, this is how I think. मेरे साथ ना पहले कोई फोटो नहीं खिंचाता था. आज ये अंदर ही नहीं आने दे रहे. मैं 26 साल से यही काम कर रहा हूं जी. 26 साल मैंने कोई आलू नहीं छिले, यही कर रहा हूं मैं. और आज क्या हो गया अचानक कि सबको सेल्फी चाहिए? सॉरी, आपको नहीं कह रहा है. डोंट टेक इट पर्सनली एंड डोंट फील बैड. आई एम जस्ट सेइंग, लोग ना जी मेरे साथ नहीं तस्वीर खिंचा रहे हैं, मेरे बदले हुए वक्त के साथ फोटो खींच रहे हैं. अगर ये वक्त नहीं रहेगा, आएगा कोई मुझसे पूछने, आएगा कोई वही फोटो खिंचाने. इसलिए मैं कई बार कहता हूं, जिनके न आते थे जवाब, उनके सलाम आने लगे. जिनके न आते थे जवाब, उनके सलाम आने लगे. मेरा वक्त क्या बदला, मेरे नीम के पेड़ पे आम आने लगे. Can you believe this? सब बदले हुए वक्त का खेल है दोस्तों. All changed times. So for me, my true, genuine relationships are those who are not connecting to my changed times, who are connecting to me the way I am. पहले जैसा था उनके लिए मैं आज भी वैसे ही हूं, कल भी मैं उनके लिए वैसे ही रहूंगा. मेरी जो पॉपुलैरिटी है, फेम है या जो प्रेजेंस है, उससे उनका कोई लेना देना नहीं. So my fellow ashram mates, we have deep, genuine, authentic friendships, which are not based on the times I am in. And I feel that's my close circle. My close circle is people who don't connect to my name outside, but to connect to me and accept me for who I am. So, yes, they do sometimes have a little bit of a, not always, some of them have a little bit of a, not discomfort, but a question कि आप सीधा बोलिए ना थोड़ा spirituality. ये इतना घुमा फिरा कि इतना घुमा. Sometimes on social media people comment, अरे स्वामी जी बहुत हो गया ये अभी बोलिए सीधा. This is what people comment. So that's sometimes what happens. I don't know if I'm motivating anybody, madam. I really have no idea. I know one thing. I try to be very authentic, and I do what brings me great satisfaction, and I believe in self-expression. In the course of that, if somebody else gets benefited and motivated, I'm very happy to serve them in that way. But who motivates me? One of my biggest motivation is my mother and my grandmother. My grandmother left this world last year at the age of 100 years. Wow. My grandma was a full 100 years century. Maar ke gayi meri dadi. Like amazing. And that lady, at the age of 92 and 94, she got cancer twice. She fell down thrice and broke her spine. Through those last 10 years, every single time my grandma was back up on her feet, walking after physiotherapy till she was 100. After 3 spinal injuries and 2 cancers. She lost my aunt, two of her daughters, my aunt, my father, right? My father, her son, her husband, my grandfather, 4 of her grandchildren, my cousins. She saw all of that. And every single time I saw my grandmother, when my father left, I went for the cremation. And my grandma was there. And my grandmother, after the cremation was over, she held my hand and said, "Tu ja beta, main sab sambhal lungi." With a smile on her face, that tenacity, that resilience, that grit, that determination, that fighter spirit, that fortitude is my motivation. You know, my mother, these are unsung heroes. They don't wear a cap. They don't wear a cap. But we don't know that they've done so much for your life. My mother, I lost my father like 12 years back, 13 years back. What a lady. What a lady. I mean, single-handedly managing everything. And the one thing she keeps telling me is, the one thing I don't want to be is a botheration in your work. Usually a mother who's now a widow would constantly ask for, you should be doing this. I don't want to be a botheration in your journey. Then my motivation, of course, is my spiritual guru, Radhanath Swami, in whom I found my shelter, in whom I found my connection, in whom I found spiritual wisdom. And my motivation is every single one in this room. Because I'll tell you, I'm not exaggerating, you guys don't realize that through your tiny appreciation, you're sending an energy to me. Even through your smartphones. And that energy is what makes me do what I do. So very grateful for every reader, every viewer who watches us, reads us, for their love, their support, and the incredible energy that they send to me. So very, very grateful. Thank you.
All right, a couple of more questions. Who should we give the mic to?
Please tell me. Should I give it to him?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Mike, I have 2 questions. The first is, how do you find your purpose in life?
Can you kindly hold your microphone?
How do you find your purpose in life? And the second connected question is, you are on your search, seeking some paths. What if you hit a roadblock? How do you move beyond it?
Right.
How are you going to answer this in like, how do you find your purpose in life?
Yeah.
In like one answer, it must be.
Yes, I'll give you just a quick one pointer on it. Somebody asked Michelangelo. They said, "Sir, you make such beautiful sculptures. I mean, what's the secret behind making such exquisite, top of the end sculptures?" Michelangelo gave an answer which was like spot on. Absolutely incredibly inspiring. He said, "I really don't make those sculptures. Those sculptures exist within the chunk of the marble. What I do is I chisel off the excess marble from the top, and what is existing will eventually emerge out." Right. I feel our purpose is like that sculpture. वो अंदर है. हमको क्या करना है, वो अंदर हमारा purpose आया है हमारे साथ. लेकिन ऊपर ना बहुत कचरा भरा हुआ है. तो धीरे धीरे जैसे ये कचरा, कंफ्यूजन्स, लैक ऑफ क्लैरिटी, ये सब धीरे धीरे जैसे डीक्लटरिंग होता है. इट्स लाइक टेकिंग द चिजल ऑफ द मार्बल. स्लोली द स्कल्पचर इवॉल्व्स. So finding your purpose is not an overnight thing, sir. It's a life's journey. Some people hit on to it really quick. Some people, and most people, I would say, take long. One thing I can definitely say, our purpose is not just to come to this world, earn money, pay bills, pay taxes, pay mortgages. We're not born to just pay taxes, bills, mortgages. That's not what we're born for. There's something more that we definitely have. And it'll come in time. If we seek it, if we declutter, if we take all those layers that are off slowly and steadily, we take them off, we will slowly reach there. How do you move when you hit a roadblock? When you hit a roadblock, I think, like I sometimes say, when option A doesn't work, there's a B. When option B doesn't work, there's a C. When option C doesn't work, there's a D. The alphabet has 26 letters, sir, not one. And therefore, with one roadblock, we wouldn't want to kind of say that's the end of it all. Yes, at that time, we can seek help, we can seek guidance, we can seek inspiration, we can seek the motivation to keep going, but let's not give up. Yeah, thank you.
That's just what I was going to say, that, people have this idea that chasing your purpose is a halo dream and the journey to it is golden, but it may not be, and it can be filled with, a lot of twists and turns. Right. So it's all about the attitude that you go into it with. Okay. I think, the boys, they've had their hands up for a long time. Yeah, can we just take it there first, because they've had it up for a long time. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Sir, as a student, I learned a lot of things from Bhagavad Gita. And then one thing that really inspired me a lot, that one quote of Krishna ji, कि कर्म करते रहो, फल की चिंता मत करो. And sir, I want you to explain to me this.
Okay.
Thank you so much, sir.
Wow. That's like a philosophically loaded question.
Yeah. Say it as it is. Say it as it is.
Straight as it is.
Say it as it is. Yeah.
In Gita, Krishna says, keep doing your duty. Do not look at the results, right? I'll give you my take on it. This is how I look at it. If I say, keep doing my duty, keep writing the book, don't worry what will happen with the book in the future. Vaishali Mathur from Penguin is sitting right here. He's saying, we are not having you as our author. Yes, madam? I'm saying, if I say that I write my book, कर्म करते जाओ, मैंने अपनी किताब लिखी है, इसके बाद एक भी कॉपी नहीं बिके ना, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है मुझे, क्योंकि कर्म करते जा, फल की अपेक्षा मत कर. ये पेंगुइन की कमिश्निंग एडिटर बैठी है सामने, वो कहने वाली है, सर ये हमारा लास्ट प्रोजेक्ट है साथ में. Now realistically, let's take the facts straight on. When you're working, will you ever be able to give your 200% if you don't focus on the result? Will you give your 200% passion to do something when you don't focus on the result? You can't. So which means, when Krishna says in the Gita, कर्म करते जा, 200% आसक्ति से कर्म करना चाहिए. You should work with 200% attachment, not detachment. You should be attached, not detached. That's not the message of the Gita. अगर गीता का संदेश होता डिटैचमेंट, तो अर्जुन को कृष्ण कहते, भाई तुझे जो तीर मारना है मार, नहीं मारना है मत मार, इधर बैठना है बैठ जा, छोड़ के जाना है भाग जा. 200% attachment to your work. Now when Krishna says फल की अपेक्षा मत कर, the detachment part is, जब मैंने 200% कर दिया ना, उसके बाद जो मेरे हाथ में नहीं है, उससे detachment रखिए. There are going to be factors which are not in my control. There are going to be factors which I cannot define. Be detached from that. Don't be detached from giving your focus on what you do. So कर्म करते जा, फल की अपेक्षा मत कर का मतलब होता है, अपने काम में 200% समर्पण करिए, और वो होने के बाद में जब कुछ ऐसे फैक्टर्स होंगे जो आपके हाथ में नहीं है, फिर उसमें विड्रॉ करके शांत रहने की कोशिश कीजिए. ये कर्मयोग है. थैंक यू.
You know, you talked about having the right attitude and you gave so many examples. But, some people genuinely have a lot of bad luck, especially when it comes to, forget other things, but especially when it comes to health, and those things are not always in your control. Now, when you say rise above, sometimes in those instances, it's emotionally, physically, it's not even possible to rise above out of those situations. I mean, what does one do then?
Correct. What does one do when, you're in a situation where you can't rise above? Emotionally, physically. मतलब कई बार ना लोगों की सिचुएशंस ऐसी होती है ना जी, यहाँ बैठ के बोलना बहुत इजी होता है. स्टेज पे आकर एक माइक्रोफोन हाथ में लेकर आंसर्स देना एक बहुत इजी चीज होती है. लेकिन जब 29 साल आपका पेन जाए नहीं, आसान नहीं होता. घर में कोई टर्मिनली इल है, somebody is going through a serious divorce, heartbreak, it's painful. Physical illness is painful. What do you do to rise above? Here's what I feel. I don't think you are from that generation, but I'm from a generation where when we wanted to watch a movie, we could hire a videotape and play it on a video player, cassette player. हम लोग किराए पे ले सकते थे वो. हम लोग तभी किराए पे बाइसिकल लेते थे, बाइसिकल चलाने के लिए. किराए की साइकिल, किराए की वीडियो कैसेट्स, और अमेरिका में तो हाल ही में किराए के ब्लॉकबस्टर डीवीडीज भी थी. द पॉइंट में, अच्छा ये छोड़ दीजिए. हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू वुड लाइक टू टेक अ लोन फॉर अ स्टार्टअप और समथिंग? हैव यू एनीबॉडी टेकन अ लोन? या हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू वुड लाइक टू गो ऑन शार्क टैंक एंड हैव द गाइज फंड योर स्टार्टअप? है ना? मतलब when you don't have something, you take it from somebody else, right? Similarly, when I can't be positive, when I lack strength, when I lack hope, and I know I can't do it on my own, I need to seek help from somebody else, if not to resolve it fully, to feel even a 0.1% better than what I am. So when I'm so helpless, I think it's really important that we seek help. Yeah?
Okay. At the back, can I get a question?
One last, Debbie.
One last, yeah.
Yeah, one last question. Whoever gets the microphone. Hi.
Just a second.
I had a microphone, so I couldn't
Hello.
do it fully.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hanji.
My questions to you to how to train our brain with this principle to focus on oneself.
How to train our friends to focus
How
on
to train our brain with
Brain.
the principle of how to focus on oneself.
ourselves?
Yeah.
Okay, how to train our brain with the principles to focus on ourselves is what
self.
you're asking?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. When we're talking about training, like when I was at the India Conclave, I was giving the example of going to a gym. If you go to a gym, and if you're going to lift 25 kilos on the first day, goodness me, it's not happening. Because you don't have that capacity yet. Your muscles, your body are not yet in a position to be able to lift that much. So what does a trainer do to you? Start with 2 kilos. You begin with 2 kilos. You get your muscles and your body used to the 2 kilos weight. Once you're ready with that, the trainer says, now you're ready for a raise. He'll raise it to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever your capacity is. And slowly it steadily build your strength, your stamina, your ability, your capacity to handle those weights. And that is when your body grows. That's when your muscles grow, right? I don't think any aspect in life is an exception to this principle. If I want to transform and change myself, start small. We don't have to train ourselves overnight like आज भर्ती और कल चक्रवर्ती. ऐसे नहीं होता. भर्ती होने में और चक्रवर्ती होने के बीच में बहुत युद्ध लड़ने पड़ते हैं. So don't say that, okay, I want to train myself and I'm going to change now. I want to change now. Hyper. You know those guys who go to a gym and say, I'm going to get in shape now. 2 days. Oh my God, I thought somebody here is laughing. 2 days, 3 days, and they quit going to the gym eventually. So change in a way that is slow, small, but sustainable, and 200% you will get there. Don't again put that pressure on yourself कि change इतने समय में होना ही है. क्यों? One step ahead towards your goal is a step ahead. And a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. So take that step today. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
very
A
much
big
again.
round of applause, everyone.
Thank you very much.
And I'm sure there'll be, yeah.
Hanji, one, sorry. Yes.
हरिओम स्वामी जी.
Hari Om ji.
ड्यूरिंग योर आप के चर्चा के दौरान आपका हाथ हमेशा जब आप माइंड की बात करते हैं तो यहां जाता है. इसका क्या अर्थ है? क्या माइंड एंड ब्रेन इज द सेम? और अगर ये चीज है तो क्या आप अपने इस लक्ष्य को could you energize your mind completely? Are you satisfied? Thank you.
Okay, wow. That's a question. That's the last, huh? Yeah. Number one, the brain and the mind are two different things. If you could compare it with something, the brain is the hardware, the physical, and mind is the software, which is not the tangible and seen. Right? Brain is like the physical things in a computer, but mind is not something that you can see, the chips and wires and connections. No. So they're two different aspects. And second question, have I energized my mind fully? Sir, I said to you, even in the beginning I mentioned, probably in a passing I mentioned, that we are all work in progress. हम सब work in progress है जी. अगर कोई कहे कि मैंने अपने माइंड को पूरा एनर्जाइज कर लिया है, मुझे विश्वास कभी नहीं होगा उस इंसान में, क्योंकि हम इंसान हैं, भगवान नहीं. और इसीलिए अगर एनर्जी अपने को खुद को अगर हमें अपना माइंड एनर्जाइज करना है, रोज का काम है. ये जरूर कह सकता हूं कल से बेहतर हूं, ये जरूर कह सकता हूं 26 साल पहले जब शुरू किया था तब से बेहतर हूं. लेकिन अगर ये कहूं कि पहुंच गया वहां, आज इस साहित्य तक के मंच पे, वो सरासर झूठ होगा सर. और केवल मैं नहीं, कोई भी यहां बैठकर अगर ये बात बोले, वो सरासर झूठ होगा. क्योंकि हम सब वर्क इन प्रोग्रेस है. हम सब कोई अलग अलग नहीं है जी. आप और मैं और यहां बैठे सब, हम सब इंसान है, सामान्य इंसान है. जीवन ने हमको कुछ ऐसी परिस्थितियों में डाला है, कुछ ऐसे सर्कमस्टेंसेस में डाला है, असामान्य लोग मानते हैं, लेकिन मैं तो सामान्य हूं. हम सब वैसे ही इंसान है, वही खून हम में बहता है, वही मन है, वही प्रकार की समस्याएं हमारे जीवन में आती है. और इसलिए हम सब वर्क इन प्रोग्रेस है. हम सब एक दूसरे को प्रेरणा देते रह सकते हैं, एक दूसरे के माइंड को एनर्जाइज करने के लिए. मैं कभी ये नहीं सोचता कि आप मुझे प्रेरणा नहीं दे सकते. यदि मैं आपके साथ बैठ के बातचीत करूं तो हो सकता है आपकी जीवन की स्टोरी और आप जो करते हैं उससे भी मैं प्रेरणा ले पाऊं. सो वी नीड टू इंस्पायर ईच अदर, टू एनर्जाइज योर माइंड, एंड वी आर वर्क इन प्रोग्रेस एट ऑल टाइम्स. थैंक यू.
Thank you so much. A big round of applause, and I'm sure you'll discover a lot of other nuggets in the book. Thank you. Thank you so much.